There's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.
Good evening, papa. Yeah, fitted sheets. Who needs those? I mean, they are nice on the bed, aren't they? So you don't have to do a hospital envelope edge or whatever they're called. But anyway, fitted sheets. There's your guidance right there. Good morning to you. It is the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast with me, Carl Munson. Or should I say, Munson here with the Good Morning Portugal show, live stream and podcast. That always sounds better, doesn't it? How are you this morning? Is it me? Or has this week flown by really quickly to this hump day where we have a Silver Coast meetup at 1 o'clock this afternoon, and it's looking like it's going to be good weather. It says úmido on my weather forecast on my PC, but 12 degrees currently. Oh, it just suddenly dropped to 11. And I think it will be rising later. Yes, to 17 degrees. That's very comfortable, isn't it? 17 degrees at lunchtime today. Salvation Air Force is back. Thank goodness for that. How are you? Great to have you join the team this week. So would you mind telling us more about yourself, or would you prefer to remain anonymous? That's fine too, Salvation Air Force, but a cool name. Coming in from YouTube there. Wayne's just joined us as well. Copa there and building a new life in Portugal. Literally building a new home in Portugal. How's that going as well? That's being documented on our Gumper blog site there on over all the W's, goodmorningportugal.com, which you can see under my name on the screen there if you're watching the visuals rather than listening on the podcast. I do invite you, if you're listening on the podcast from time to time, to go over to goodmorningportugal.com. There's that golden visa story. Is it only me who's excited about that? Of course, if you're not... Yes, I wouldn't mind. All right, be like that. Is it only me who has an interest in this golden visa story? Not that I'm a golden visa holder or thinking of becoming one at any time soon, but I think it's quite a key indicator of where the government's headed and what the sensibilities of the coalition government are in relation to foreign investment, and particularly that kind of foreign investment. T-Duck's in, as is Coach Turner. Deagle, how are you, Deagle? I meant to send you a message last night. I was really surprised to hear of your recent adventures in hospital. I hope you're okay, mate. Bon dia, Carl and Gumpers from a damp start in Belfast. Should hit 8 degrees today. Having a lazy day. Quite right too, mate. You need to take it easy, don't you? Hoping our weather improves, get some steady double digits temperatures for a week or two. Yeah, that would help, wouldn't it? And some better air quality for you as well. James is here too. Bon dia, Gumpers. Feliz Cata todos. Como va todos? The nice one, James. And should we get your visual dad joke in? This, I think, is Star Trek, isn't it? Rather than Star Wars. Both of them I've yet to become very excited about, but I know for all you Star Wars and Trekkies out there, this is great fun. But I was thinking about this when you sent it to me. What is it about memes? Where have they come from? What was the first meme? And it's interesting, isn't it? Even if you're not a Star Trek or Star Wars fan, you can still understand the humor because of the faces that get pulled. I guess it's an added pleasure for you if you're a Trekkie or a Star Wars fan to see the characters you recognize. This one I'll need to explain to the podcast listeners. And in honor of yesterday, how was your Valentine's Day? Help! I need a date for Valentine's Day. The Star Trek character says February 14th. Yes. Or maybe. Yeah, not a sound you hear on the Star Trek Enterprise there. A captain's log of a joke this morning, I think. We're going to Tamar this morning at some point. Thank you for the Ugununu from... I think we do know who Salvation Air Force is, but they are working under this nom de plume, this what would it be called? Like a special anonymous moniker here. I think, is it someone we already know? Would you answer that clue? International man of mystery, as you're calling yourself, in the chat now. Hope you're okay. Deagle says, Pete, one of the loveliest things about living here is that people genuinely care. As a result, I'm getting my hoe out for Saint Nick to come and help me with concrete ordering. What's that? He's getting his hoe out for Saint Nick. What sort of euphemism is that, Peter? So are you going to help other people getting concrete laid and you're digging the footings or something like that? My lips are sealed. I wasn't able to catch you out there or draw you out, Salvation Air Force. Nice little wordplay on Salvation Army. Is that possibly a clue? Not Salvation Army, but Salvation Air Force. I will not be drawn on this matter. Possibly, says Salvation Air Force. Okay, T-Duck, Bon dia Alegria, at 8:01 this morning, and looking forward to a sunny day in the Bay of San Martino de Porto, and we'll be setting up the outside broadcast kit, or T-Duck will be, top producer T-Duck will be setting up that kit, and we can do a few interviews this morning with anyone who's, oh no, look at my ticker tape. I've spelled Raquel from Lighthouse. Like it's a Peaky Blinder from the Lighthouse Consulting. Yes, we'll be doing the OB with any luck from, if the conditions are appropriate to do so, from San Martino de Porto, from overlooking the bay later on today. So come and join us if you'd like to have your say and be interviewed on the Good Morning Portugal outside broadcast this afternoon. Come and join us, and even if you don't come and join us, come and have something to eat, drink, and hang out with some lovely people. Met a lovely couple yesterday. Lovely lunch with my pal Nuno yesterday in San Martino de Porto, and the couple came in and they had spotted the Good Morning Portugal show previously. So good morning to you, Andy and Kathy. Lovely to meet you. A lovely couple of Canadians who may well join us later on today. So lovely to meet you in San Martino de Porto Bistro. I had polvo octopus yesterday. It was really, really good, I have to tell you. Really excellent. In the San Martino Bistro, lovely staff, quite an unassuming cafe exterior. You know, I would expect perfectly good food there. However, not necessarily excellent food, as we were treated to yesterday, because it looks like a regular, cafe. It looks nice. It looks like you could get yourself a nice tosta in there and some nice cakes and so on. But hidden at the back is, I think, a very gifted chef who really is pushing the boat out, certainly to go and catch a few octopus of a morning. It was really good. Really enjoyed it. Oh, and the mango mousse with quite a big top note of lime. Was delicious. So Pete's out digging some trenches for the beautiful hand-cut boards that Luke, this is getting quite specialist here, isn't it? Digging some trenches for my beautiful hand-cut boards that Luke and Sarah's Off-Grid Life, yes, of course, we've spoken to them before, haven't we? Cut for me. And Nick from, look at this YouTuber gathering here. And Nick from Project Portugal is, as he always does, helping an ignoramus, building ignoramus like me today. So please say hi to all those YouTubers and those people who are doing interesting projects here in Portugal. And could you extend an invitation, please, to them, Pete? Anytime they want to come on and show, they are very welcome. I just sent you the world's first meme, The Claim. Talking of memes as we were, T-Duck has just sent the first one, the claim of the first. Bon dia todos from Jim White. How are you doing, Jim? How's Porto this morning? Let's go not to Porto. Let me just gather my thoughts and self. Yeah. Quite frankly, have a sip of tea and head to Monsanto before we go to Tamar, of course, as well this morning, with a lovely video from Lord Andrew Gilchrist, who was on a recent state visit to Monsanto by the look of it. Enjoy this, folks. Oh, what a lovely pile of boulders you have there Lord Gilchrist. Very nice. 30 seconds of Monsanto there, the most Portuguese of all Portuguese villages. I think the former dictator of Portugal, Salazar, once said. Beautiful place, beautiful video. Thank you very much for that. I think that's from his Insta. It's spooky, he says. I just tuned into my post, Andrew Gilchrist there. So do send in those sorts of contributions to 913-590-303, and we will be delighted to share them, just as we did there. It's Ask Anything About Portugal Day, of course. And don't think for a moment, if you've been here a little while, you don't have questions still about Portugal. Raquel will be joining me from Lighthouse Consulting this morning from around 9. So your APT questions, please, in the chat. And of course, she's running a course called Getting Down to Business. We launched the Portugal Business Club last night, talking about all aspects of doing business, money, wealth, finance. It was a bit of a potpourri show last night with Vitor and specialist subject of his. And I think we were just sort of establishing the ground rules. We might have a business book club. We might be helping people understand EVA and income tax, all sorts of things like that. The difference between a NIF, an SNS, and a NIS number, those sorts of things now on a Tuesday evening from 9 until 10. Thanks to everybody who tuned in for that. And the Cockerel's Coop as well, of course. Do you remember that from the morning show, the Cockerel's Coop? We are multitasking that jingle. That is for GMP VIPs and for any other outstanding behavior that we showcase here on the Good Morning Portugal show. That also the heralding, the sharing of a Cockerel's Coop business, which we'll do on a Tuesday night as well. If you've got a business idea or you know of a business owner who would want to come and pitch that to the community, get a bit of publicity, perhaps get a bit of help and a few ideas from consumers, potential consumers, then Tuesday, 9 o'clock for the Cockerel's Coop, the return thereof. Okay, let's get back to those comments in the chat. Jean's here. Good morning to you, Jean. How are you doing? Hola, bon dia todos. And Andrew is working the room and says of his video, I love Monsanto. That bar has one of the best views from a beer garden. That sounds really nice, to be in a Monsanto bar looking out across the landscape. And the lady of the 7 skirts. Hi, boys and girl, this morning. Good morning to you, Mulher de Set Seias. And that was a lovely day out, but no place to live unless you have the calves of a mountain goat, which some Portuguese country folk do, of course. And the lack of a sensible fear of heights, like Andrew Gilchrist. Is he like a mountain goat leaping about on the boulders there? Interesting. A hot tip this evening, live music in the O Faro Bar in Fuzeta. There's a clue to the identity of the Salvation Air Force, unless they're just throwing us off the scent there. With that tip, live music in the O Faro Bar in Fuzeta, the Faro area, from 21:30 onwards. Yes, sounds very military, doesn't it? Salvation Air Force, arranged by 2 wonderful Canadian ladies, Judy and Cheryl. Would that be Cheryl or Cheryl, do you think? I'm going to go with Cheryl because it slips off the tongue very nicely. Judy and Cheryl there are hosting live music at the O Faro Bar in Fuzeta in the Faro area from 9:30 this evening. We love information like that. Thank you very much to you, Salvation Air Force. Pink hand pink waving at Antonio F. An emoji that went wrong there. I want to find out what this first ever meme was from T-Duck, who's quick on the draw there, and I call quick on the mouse on the internet, I suspect. Bon dia from a beautiful Bairrada from Andy this morning. And before he started waving his pink hand at Antonio F this morning. So let's have a look then. Let me just, I want to have a quick look myself at this very first meme. The world's first meme, of course. Thank you very much for that. I'll share that with you in just a moment, along with others this morning. Ask anything about Portugal. I think I interrupted myself when I said to you, don't think because you've lived here for a while, you don't have any more questions about Portugal. Raquel is Portuguese. She works in the business world. She helps people start businesses, find businesses, I believe. And of course, as a Portuguese citizen, lives in Cascais, she's able to help you with any questions you have about Portugal. Something that might have occurred to you. I must ask Munson and the merry men and women on a Wednesday of Ask Anything About Portugal. That was there something you wrote down or made a mental note of that you want to ask us on a Wednesday? Do so today. It is Hump Day, of course. Okay, deep thought then from Muhammad Ali this morning. Cassius Clay, formerly, don't count the days, make the days count. I can hear him in my mind's ear saying that. What a legend, Muhammad Ali there. And Portuguese saying of the day, quem se afoga, as palhas se agara, not pilhas, not batteries, but palhas. A drowning man plucks at a straw. Yes, desperation. Okay, let's go to Tamar. And this is the song I love to sing when we're driving into Tamar with the family. I think my kids probably hate it. Is Tomare, whoa, cantare, whoa. So let's go there right now to Tamar. And my first, Mrs. M sent me a picture from our most recent visit there at the weekend. I must share this with you. I do like this a great deal. And I was going to set it up by saying, guess where I am, everybody, but I've kind of ruined that now. How's this for downloading pictures from Messenger? Oh, that's not too bad. Okay, so let me share this one with you. This is Tamar's News kind of Prasa area. This until recently was just a great big kind of sandy car park where people used to park near the railway station in Tamar. They've done it up. Looks great. And here I am from last Sunday with one of those wonderful city and town names in 3D that you can photograph yourself by. And I didn't miss that opportunity there, did I? And I was going to do guess where I am with you on that, but I've blown it now. I've messed that up. So there we were in Tamar on Sunday. And this is a picture. What I realized from the pictures that I shared from last Sunday is they were rather grey. And it didn't show possibly Tamar in the best possible light. Literally, it was very grey and looked quite miserable. So the abandoned building looked even more unpleasant, basically. And because I know Tamar, I'm thinking to myself, this is a lovely city. I'll just show another side of it with some of these buildings that are closed down or some of the other aspects of it, not sharing a picture of this kind with that quality of blue sky in it. So apologies if I put anybody off Tamar with my recent pictures. I'm doing better today, I hope, with this selection here, because Tamar is the star of our Ugo Nunu feature this morning, thanks to T-Duck. You see, this is what Tamar looks like at the best of times. Beautiful park near the Nabal River, across from the Templarios Hotel. A couple of the kids there having a run around. That, of course, was the main Prasa with the, what's he called? Galdim de Peixe, the founding father of certainly this part of, this most recent part of historical Tamar. And I think I've got one more here. Yes, I have. Look, Cafe Paraiso. Again, the building looks a little bit scruffy, but what a lovely place that is, Cafe Paraiso. If you're going to Tamar, go down that lane there, which is a fabulous street, a pedestrianised street leading to the Prasa that I just showed you. And along the way is the Cafe Paraiso, the Naval River at one end, the Prasa at the other. A beautiful, beautiful town is Tamar. And here I am with the kids at a medieval fair that they host there, I think, most years, as well as the tabuleiros, of course. I showed you the picture of the lady and her hat, bigger than herself, a tray of bread and flowers, which a lot of women will be carrying on their heads in sweltering July. Here we were at the medieval festival, however, probably a couple of years back now. This is me helping the kids with a little bit of, is this called lancing? What fun. Summer days in Tamar. Thoroughly recommend those to you. And let me put then in the background a picture of Tamar, the new other Prasa, the modern Prasa, over by the railway and the coach station. Yes, you can get there by railway and coach if you're not driving. And let's see what T-Duck has found out about Tamar in today's Ugonunu feature today. All right, who knew? Tamar then was created inside the walls of the Convento de Cristo. Mrs. M went up there on Sunday and had a fine time. It's really wonderful up on the hill there. Under the orders of Gualdim de Peixe. There you go, who I mentioned, got his name right. Raquel's limbering up to join us in a few minutes at 9 o'clock, and she's behind the scenes. Gualdim de Peixe, the fourth Grand Master of the Knights Templar of Portugal in the late 12th century. Tamar was the last Templar town to be commissioned and one of Portugal's historical jewels. Absolutely right, T-Duck. The town was especially important in the 15th century when it was a centre of Portuguese overseas expansion under Henry the Navigator, the Grand Master of the Order of Christ, successor organisation to the Knights Templar in Portugal. Now, fascinating history there. And that, I think, is an interesting change of their status in Portuguese and global society, moving from the Knights Templar to the Order of Christ there. I think they were a deeply respected body of men and no doubt women, but led by the fellas, I think it's fair to say, the Knights Templar. And there's so many references. You see the red and white there on the sign behind me. Those really are the signature colors, because of course they are the Knights Templar colors, the red and the white. And you'll see, I saw a Templar knight guarding the castle when we went up there, and it was really great to take my 4-year-old and say, look at that knight over there. Really good. And the people of Tamar really get into that history, and I think whenever they possibly can dress up like Templar knights, or many of them do anyway. That's if they're not wearing a massive tray of bread and flowers on top of their head in July. Okay, thank you very much, T-Duck, for that. The Ugununu for today, showcasing Tamar there. We've got some dad jokes as well. We'll come back to those a little bit later on. We'll climax with those. Deagle's in, James is in, Coach Turner. Then let's do a God Squad tip of the day. Bon dia todos, says Coach Turner. Double-digit temperatures today, so looking forward to putting the top down and going for a drive. He's going topless today. And I found a meme for you as well. We found the first meme, and we've also got one for Coach Turner here. Let me just take that comment off the screen so you can see it, everybody. When you're new to the gym and trying to figure out how the equipment works, look at the look on that cat's face at the end there. I've been there. I've felt that and tried not to look like that in a gym. Not that I've ever been to many gyms, quite frankly. I did join a gym in an interesting period of my life when I was living in my office. Mainly to go and have a shower and a swim in the mornings. Oh my goodness. Strange times. God Squad tip of the day then. Building higher intensity efforts into your daily activity will make a huge difference to your overall health. Just 5 or 6 20-second efforts, a bit of fartlek, I think, is enough to start changing your metabolism. So you don't have to look like that cat. You can build it into a daily walk. The efforts are just walking as fast as you can for 20 seconds. Tell your companions before you burst into a 20-second sprint, because it could be a little unsettling for those out walking with you. But the efforts are just walking as fast as you can for 20 seconds, then back to normal for a minute or so. Play with it and see how you get on. Excellent. I think that is the intermittent, not intermittent fasting or intermittent farting, intermittent exercise, isn't it? Intermittent training, I believe, with fartlek, aka fartlek. All right. Great stuff, Coach Turner. We'll see you on Friday with Big Phil as well. It's going to be a very interesting and fun gathering, I think, on Friday. Bobby O'Reilly will be returning from You Home, of course, our channel sponsors, and Big Phil and Ian. I imagine talk will come round to rugby at some point on Friday, but don't let that put you off. We'll have some feel-good Friday fun with the fellas on Friday then. Okay, who else is in the chat this morning? Pete's getting really good in his lawyers to dig some trenches. Thank you for that hot tip for this evening, Salvation Air Force. Anything from around the country, we're glad to hear of it. Please do pop that in the chat as well as your ask anything about Portugal questions, which Raquel and I will gobble up this morning and do our very best to help you. And we'll find out more about Raquel's business course. And if you need any business advice, you're in the right place this morning. So thank you very much for being here. Darren's in as well. I went to Tamar last week. I was in Tamar last week. What did you think of it, Darren? Did you enjoy it over there? Salvation Air Force. I'm unsure if it's either possible or permissible to post URL links in these comments. It's fine by me. But are you beautiful people aware of the orca attacks along the Portuguese and Spanish coast? Have heard of those. If you want to send me news, do so on the WhatsApp line, 913-590-303. Thank you very much for in advance for anything you want to send. Oh, thank you, Andy, as well. My son and daughter performing in the local rancho back in the day. The local rancho. What's that, I hear you ask? Maybe that's a question we can ask and get answered this morning. Thank you very much for those. How lovely. The local rancho. Very Bayradian, I think we're seeing on the screen there, Andy. So I'll share those with folks this morning too. Maybe you could tell us what a rancho is. What's the significance of that inside the Portuguese culture? Okay, just saving those now. And thank you, OLP. Snow in Oregon. Your garden is a very pretty picture this morning. So if you think you're cold in Portugal today, just have a look. Spare a thought for the folks in Oregon. And we will bring that picture of OLP's garden you can hear me trying to download it desperately in the background right now, can't you? So thank you for that, OLP and Andy, who've sent pictures on 913-590-303. That's what you need to do. A Salvation Air Force with those URLs as well. If they don't go into the chat, I've got no problem with people networking. I trust you completely to share interesting things, but it may be that the tech blocks you from doing that. There's that snowy garden in Oregon. Let me just move your comment for a moment there, Salvation Air Force. Brrr, that pond is frozen over as well. Thank you, OLP, for that. Come back to the rancho pictures a little bit later on. It is only a floor for the tractor, Andy, not a 5-star resort yet. Oh, is this the concrete that's getting laid this morning? Living the dream, eh, Pete? Over there in central Portugal this morning. Putting you back into it. Is that first meme ever? Kilroy was here, of course. The first. Is that the original one? And that's from Weird History. Thank you very much for that. Thank you so much. That's very quick work this morning, finding that for us. The very first meme for humans, of course. The word meme's an interesting one, isn't it? Who came up with that, I wonder? Can somebody help us out with that? I joined a gym, but didn't see any progress at first. Someone suggested that I should start going to it as well. Where's my... What happened to my rim shot? There we go. Thank you. Very good. Yeah, if you're going to join a gym, you should go to it as well, possibly, for best results. How did you find Tamar? I know it was on the IC9. I don't mean that. I mean, what did you like it over in Tamar there, Darren? Antonio F talking about lottery wins here this morning. Interesting. And yes, lucky. A question mark. Yes, I wonder. Just one. And we talked about this last night on the Business Club, actually. Vitor suggested that 80% of lottery winners are broke again within a couple of years. If you're going to win £1 million or dollars or euros, you better become a millionaire quick. It's a mindset, isn't it? A lucky guy just won is that 2,000? Can't be, can it? That would be 2 billion in the US lottery. So that can't be right. But let's call it 2 million of US dollars. This morning. Yes, that's utterly life-changing, isn't it? And not necessarily for the good. You really have to hold your nerve and keep a strong head, I think, with a lottery win of that kind. Not speaking from personal experience. I'll get Nick to have a look at that in an hour. What? There's probably a cream for it, whatever it is. We need leaders not in love with money, but in love with justice, not in love with publicity, but in love with humanity. Very, very appropriate and timely from Martin Luther King, as shared with us by Ian, Coach Turner, this morning. Snowy day. Thank you very much. Yes, your snowy day in Oregon. Hello, you lovely Gumpers and Carl. Let me just show you that quickly again. There's the snow in Oregon this morning. Your garden looks beautiful, OLP over there. Nice one. Thank you very much. A couple more comments then before we say good morning to Raquel today. Oh, Lady Gilchrist is going in for the Tabuleiros then in Tomar, perhaps, by the sound of it. And we've actually put an offer in on a property 10 minutes from Tomar. Excellent. I don't think you'll be disappointed. And if you like hot weather, you get a lovely hot summer, quite frankly, in Tomar. Can get up to the 40s. You can touch the 40s there in Tomar. Brilliant choice. Well done in central Portugal there. And lovely river beaches. Do check out the river beach at Agrawal. That's a great choice, Darren. Well done. And yes, talking with Darren yesterday, he is, of course, a GMP VIP. If any GMP VIPs want to sit in backstage and have a bit of fun with us, that's one of your perks. Become a GMP VIP on the homepage at goodmorningportugal.com. Darren, looking forward to your company soon. A lovely restaurant there and pancake cafe for breakfast. Very good. Yes, lots of nice places. And good luck with the offer that you've put in over there. Yes, links can't be posted. Don't show up here unless they are posted by Carl. And orca attacks on the Portuguese coast have been in the news for several months now. Interesting. Thank you very much for that. And there is a fisherman's supply shop in Huelva, Spain, that will sell you miniature depth charges to deter orcas. Gosh, they can't hear for several days after that, I suspect. So it's really becoming a thing, something of a challenge then for sailors around the Portuguese, Spanish coast down there. Very interesting. And yes, the tabuleiros, by the way, carrying a tray of what, asked Darren? It is a tray of bread and flowers, and it's a similar height to the lady who carries it. And it's a tradition that happens every 4 years in the marvelous festival of the trays, the tabuleiros, over there in Tamar, where Darren has put an offer on a property. Very good. Smash that like button, folks, and play the applause, because here she comes. Let's get down to business. Let's get down to business. Raquel, good morning to you. How are you? Oh, you'll have to unmute. I don't think I've muted you. I think, oh, there you go. How are you doing this morning?
No, I've muted myself.
Very thoughtful.
Yes.
Until we needed you. So how are you this morning?
Good. Thank you. You guys as well?
We're good here. I was just saying earlier on this morning, is this one of those fast and busy weeks? I can't believe it's Wednesday already. How's your week going?
Not at all. Super chill. Nothing to do. Yeah.
No,
chill.
I don't believe that for a moment. You're running 12 businesses, you're raising loads of kids and living in Cascais. I'm sure you are in the fast lane, Raquel.
Yes. Yesterday I was starting to get a little bit like in the panicky mode because I have no kitchen. I don't know if I told you this, but a pipe burst like a month ago in my kitchen. So I have no kitchen. I just ordered a kitchen from IKEA. Oops, sorry. And I thought it would be like 4 weeks. They told me it would be like 4 weeks. And when I went there Friday, they told me, okay, so we can install it like next Wednesday. I was like, no, I still have to get work done. I have to put everything away. So, and I'm going to London this weekend. Nice. Right. So I was like, that's not gonna, you don't understand. That's not going to happen. It's 5 people over here and I have no kitchen. I still have work to do. I'm going to London. I have work to do. So that's not going to happen. So no, not panicking at all.
Not panicking at all. Hold on a minute, because this can be a little worrisome. It is Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. No better person to answer these questions about Portugal, and especially about business life in Portugal. But pop them in the chat and we'll put them to Raquel. First question is, how is it a burst pipe leaves you without water in Portugal for a whole month?
No, it's not without water. It's without a kitchen because all the upper cabinets had to be taken away. Yes, no, we didn't have water like for a day while I had like a temporary fix on the pipe, because if we did use the pipe, it would of course come out. The water would come out, which it did when I ever needed to use the water, because we need showers and we need to eat and we need all of that. So I said, you know, what the hell, let the water come in. So it was about like a day of seeing, you know, of a very difficult balance between getting more water in my wall and having to live with water. So it was a crazy balance for a day or two. And then there was a temporary fix. And now I just don't have anything in, like, I don't have upper cabinets. I don't know where my plates are. I don't know where my anything is. So, and it was interesting in your Facebook group, someone put like a spices cabinet, whatever, everything organized. And I was like, oh my God, I want that. Now that I don't have anything, you know, I have like everything in plastic bags or whatever. So
that's quite the upheaval. Okay, so
it was very triggering.
Yeah, of course. IKEA want to help, but they're gonna have to fit themselves into a busy schedule there.
Yes, I think it's more that. Yes.
Wow.
But then we ended up like postponing a month or whatever, so that I can at least try have a go to plan something. You know.
Amazing. Okay, and that may come as a relief to some people if they're familiar with the IKEA culture. IKEA all over Portugal, of course. A couple of branches in Portugal, in Lisbon, around the capital. One up in Porto for sure. I think there's one down in the Algarve too. But you can get a fitted kitchen from IKEA, can't you? And the usual service that people are accustomed to all around the world. Maybe the whole world will look like IKEA one day if their expansion plans continue. But good to know, I think, for some people who are a little bit worried about engaging with Portuguese tradespeople. This is something that IKEA do as a service. You can go they'll fit it, will they?
It was, I mean, I'm speaking as myself because I have a construction company as well, and we do kitchens, but, and this, but sometimes you just have to look at the best solution for the client. If it's not my own, then so be it, but I have to always look at the best solution for the client. And in this case, and in many cases, the IKEA kitchens are fine. They're great quality. I don't have anything to say bad about them. And they have streamlined the whole process. I mean, it's incredible because I went to like a competitor of sorts. I went to Vorten, which now has kitchens. And they told me it was about like 4 months to have a kitchen installed. And IKEA delivers one in 2 weeks, or okay, 3 weeks if you count the fact that they have to come and check the measurements and everything.
Yeah.
But you can't beat that. I mean, you can't beat that. If you're still going to make the cabinets and whatever, you cannot beat that. You have to have a solution where the cabinets are already made. They just have to bring them from somewhere. But everything's already made. You can't beat that in terms of time, and in terms of quality, they're very good as well. So why not?
Agree with you on that. I used to fit. I have fitted 1 or 2 IKEA kitchens in the past. About 30 years ago now. I used to do that in the UK, and still, yeah, great quality from IKEA. Now you just casually threw into the conversation there, Raquel. Yeah, we've got a construction company as well. Tell us about Lighthouse Consulting and the many tentacles you have in terms of business operations. So yeah, how's it going at
Yes.
Lighthouse Consulting? I think you've updated your website as well. I've just had a quick look.
I did, but I mean, I'm an eternal in a state of insatisfaction. I mean, I think there's so much thing to do still, so I'm never quite there. I have done a bit of an update on the website, but there's loads of things I in terms of accessibility, for instance, to people that can hear, that can see, whatever. I want to make it very accessible to everyone. I'm always very mindful of that. I'd also like to reconfigure it a little bit and bring the partnerships that I've made more into display, because I have in the past few months made a few partnerships that I think are very important. They can bring a lot of value to everyone, and I think they're not on display yet. So that's another thing that I have to do on my website. There's, Carl, I think there's always tons of stuff to do, tons of roads to walk, and so
yeah, and projects to get excited about, right?
Yes, for sure.
For those of morning to Joel Denort, thank you. It was great to talk to you last night, John. John up there in Ponte Lima, who went to a restaurant, I think, for pre-drinks before eating out with the wonderful Antonio Barbosa. But yeah, a tradition of drinking wine from a bowl or a bucket, it looked like from the video. Great evening was had by you, and a great restaurant found in Ponte Lima. I don't know if you want to recommend that to everybody, John, but great to speak to you last night. Yeah, Raquel, so many things you are doing, so many things by the sound of it you want to do. Give us a sense, will you, then, of Lighthouse Consulting for the people who missed you last time you were here.
For sure. Thank you, Carl. So Lighthouse Consulting is meant to be a 360 consulting company for expats. So I have a legal background. I can help with everything legal, contracts and whatever, but I am very much focused now on the business part. So creating companies for people, business consultancy, business brokerage is one of my top areas right now that I've been working a lot. And some, of course, real estate as well. I can go house hunting, and I have done in the past, or for rentals or leases. It's very rewarding as well, especially because then I can help with all the contract, the leases, the deeds, all of that. And something that connects with that as well is the construction company, which we had from a few years ago, and we're building some things in Samora Correia. We were building 3 houses from the ground up in Samora Correia. One of them is nearly finished, and then because Samora Correia is still far away from Cascais, I told Luis, my husband, look, we have to set up a team here in Cascais. In Cascais, where is Lisbon, Sintra, this area? Because I feel that there's a big community here in Cascais from expats that really do need this type of assistance, remodeling, bigger or small. They all need something like this. And they were struggling to find someone that could work with them. And so we started out a team, I think it was August, September here in Cascais, and it's been going really well. I mean, we haven't been having any free time, which is great. We started out, one step at a time, as one has to do. And I think it's going really, really well, because once you start, the word of mouth goes its own way and does its own thing. So you just have to start and try to get those first steps across, and then you'll go from there. And that's what's been happening. So it's very grateful to see that it's really a 360 service. I mean, I can help with some things, and then the construction can help with another thing. And what I found is that once I have a client in, there's so many things that I can help the clients with. And you know, you were talking last night about this, is adding value to the client's life. There's so much things that I do pro bono, that that people ask me for advice or whatever, or help, and it's one of the most pleasing things to do, is to help someone. And when they ask, tell me what I owe you, what do I have to pay, I tell them, no, nothing, it's fine. It was a help that you needed. I was very it was good to provide it, because that's a dopamine hit as well,
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a very important part of developing your business.
Oh, yeah.
And I think, to be fair, very Portuguese as well. A lot of expats are really surprised when they go into mechanics, for example. I recommended a mechanic to somebody, a visitor from Norway, and he's had one or two challenges with his van. Which ruined his plans actually for traveling further into Europe. So he got, like I did years ago, he got stuck in San Martino de Porto. What a great place to get stuck, right? But I recommended this garage to him. He took it in, and I think he needed just like access to a specialist tool to drain a little bit of oil out. He put too much oil in the engine, so he went to get this oil drained out, and the guy did it. And he said, "What do I owe you?" He said, "Nothing. It's just a tiny little job." This is a busy mechanic, not in a kind of backstreet garage, but in like a proper mechanics, corporate type looking, mechanics workshop. And he said, "Oh, come on," and he just wanted to buy him a drink and give him a tip. But this goes on in Portugal, doesn't it? I think he certainly gave him a drink, as we say in the UK, a tip. But the guy genuinely didn't want anything. He wasn't fishing for a tip. It was just too small a job to worry about. Happy to on your way. Not worth writing out a green receipt for.
No, and it's kind of a pay it forward type of situation.
Yes.
And if you do good, the good comes over to you. I think that's very much ingrained in our minds, and we're very helpful people. And this, as an example, we all try to speak English, we all try to speak Spanish or French or whatever people speak, to accommodate people. So I think that's very much ingrained in our cells, to try to be pleasing and to try to help in any way that we can. And there's no second agenda there. It's just really to help and to help everybody.
Just goodwill, I think. And if anyone's got any stories like that, let's shout that out about Portugal and around the world. We know we have people most people watch this show on catch up, and they are often in the United States or North America or other places around the world, having a little look at Portugal and getting excited about Portugal through the lens of Good Morning Portugal. So let's tell them those stories this morning of if you've had some great service like that, where somebody said, "No, it's on the house," almost offended that you want to pay for such a tiny then tell us about that. Here's the first one that's come in. I had a similar experience the other day with my burst tire. This is South Africa rather than Portugal, though, I think, this morning. The petrol attendants didn't have to help, and in the end, I gave them a tip without them asking for it. It's always nice to do that. Well said. And well done, Portugal's son. Bom dia, alegria a todos. Better late than never. Olá, Raquel. And you enjoyed those pictures taken by Sarah Davy of the Porto football team. She was in a hotel in Porto, and there were some footballers. She didn't know who they were. She ended up taking a picture of Pepe. So I don't know.
That would happen to me. I don't know anyone.
Really, I think she was chatting to him until security said, "Okay, enough." Hello and good day from Simon as well. Salvation Air Force, you are distinguishing yourself this morning. That was a $2 billion. What would you do with that sort of money, Raquel? I think you'll have an interesting answer to this. $2 billion winner in California, but many state lottery. Correction, 900 million. Okay, whatever it is a lot of money, right? Where would you start with that, Raquel?
It's not like I've planned it a couple of times already. I have like an entire map of what I would do.
Really? Okay.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. But I do think, I mean, when when you have money, it's very easy to say that money is not that important, but you still have to have it first. So I keep thinking, I don't know if everybody saw the Rihanna show, halftime show on the NFL or whatever. And she has like a big belly. She just had a kid. She has another one on her way, and she's like doing a humongous show. And I was like, this is like something that only money can do, because if you didn't have any money, and she made it her own, okay, not saying anything, so she came from nothing, so it's all her. But if you don't have someone that is going to look after your baby, if you don't have someone that's going to look after them while you're rehearsing, or while you're singing, or while you're working, or while you're anything, there's very little space for you to maneuver and to work. So money is important, of course. For me, money is more a means to live in comfort. I mean, that's the most important thing. And anyone who's had any health issues will absolutely put that as a priority. I want to have heating. I want to eat good food. I want to have access to medication, to doctors, to a shelter, to whatever. So these are the very basics. And for someone that has been in the corporate world where people are possibly more shallow, or that wants to have a watch with a brand or a nice coat or whatever, those things are not at all important to me, not at all. And that's not my thing. I want to dress the way I want to dress, but it's not about the brand. It's not about how much it costs. Mm-hmm. It's very much about having experiences. Like, for instance, I'm going to travel this weekend, and that's important for me, to give my family the opportunity to visit places, to know different cultures, to experience different sounds, different experiences, and that's what the money is for. When someone comes across that kind of money, I think the first thing that you have to do is to try to spread it out as much as possible. So my map, if you will, Carl, had like hundreds of people already, like in the first step, because that's you don't need much more than the very basic that you have. Of course, you want a nice house, all of that. Okay, that's fine. But then you have to help other people. You have to spread it out. You have to redistribute it somehow, either by associations or by helping people directly. And I just had so many ideas of helping so many people, like write off their mortgages. I would write off mortgages for so many people, because that's like a huge chunk of your budget every month. And so if I could like just get that out of the way for people, I think that would free up a lot of their budget to live in a more stress-free environment. So, oh my God, Carl, I have a huge plan already.
I thought you were joking when you said you've mapped it out. You literally have written down. This is part of your creative visualization. You have taken. Okay,
sure.
so you looked at having a considerable sum of money and how you would spread it around your friends, family, and society.
Oh yeah, I have like a book which I can. It's over here. The cover is like "My dreams will come true" or something. It's really something hardcore visualization, manifestation. Okay, and inside I have pictures of the houses that I'd like to have, the houses that I'd like to put my family in, because one of my dreams is to have like a big farmhouse or family house or whatever, where I can take care of my parents and my in-laws in their late years, so they don't have to go anywhere. Where I can also join in the littlest of the families, so the kids, because it's very important to have a good relationship between the oldest part of the family and the newest part of the family. I think they complement each other very well.
Lovely.
And to have animals as well, which is very therapeutic. At least for me, I mean, it's essential to have animals around. Good animals, not people. Good animals. And so yes, I do. I think that's a very good exercise to have. It gets you pumped up, and they say that it works. So I was like, I'm going to try that.
Mrs. M has done it, and a particular exercise people might like to try is you start off with a fairly modest amount, maybe €1,000 today, and you think, okay, what would I do with that flow of €1,000 in my life? then tomorrow you start with 2,000, and then 4,000. You keep doubling up in that exponential way. And your job each evening or morning as you sit down to write your journal is to dispose of that and redistribute that wealth. I understand it works for the people who do that. So how lovely to discover that you do that this morning. We're going to turn this into a Munson's Money moment to celebrate our association with Spartan. We'll be right back after this because we're going to go into some depth on this $2 billion win. See you after this. And I think it has captured the imagination of viewers this morning. There is the gentleman, Raquel, billionaire made it. I mean, that's really nice for the store where he bought the ticket as well, isn't it? That's probably good for business. Lots of other people will turn up there. Can I have one of those winning tickets, please? Well, can't see it, but there he is. That's Joseph Shahayed, who sold. Oh no, that's the shop owner. I beg your pardon. So he's a happy man having sold the ticket. So far in this story, then anonymous, which is probably not a bad idea. The man who won the record-breaking 2.04 billion Powerball jackpot after buying the prize ticket at that store there, where the owner is waving. An Altadena gas station in November has come forward to collect his winnings. That was won in November, and they've only just come forward. My goodness, I bet they were glad they checked their pockets. Edwin Castro, we do know who it is, won the unbelievable and historic prize. California lottery director Alva Johnson said Tuesday, after the jackpot ballooned for weeks in the fall following repeated drawings without a winner. Castro was the only person to match all 5 numbers plus the Powerball for a jackpot-winning ticket. He declined to speak publicly on Tuesday, but he said in a statement that he was shocked and ecstatic. And glad to learn that California public schools also won big. As someone who received the rewards of being educated in the California public education system, it's gratifying to hear that as a result of my win, the California school system greatly benefits as well. Well, that's good to know, isn't it? Castro chose to collect his prize in a lump sum for a total of nearly 1 billion, lottery officials said. So what's that? Was the other part of it tax? Though his name and how he accepted his winnings are public record under California law, no other information about Castro, including his age, city of residence, or any other identifiers was revealed, and he would like to remain largely private. Don't blame him. And people are telling us how they would spend that money and what they would do. T-Duck says he would move to Portugal. Give most of it away, I think.
You don't need that much to move to Portugal.
Not yet, anyway.
Not even in Cascais. Chill.
That's saying something as well, isn't it? You don't even need that amount of money in Cascais. Superb. Well said there. And some lovely compliments coming in about you as well. US 2 billion, what some people might consider to be essentially a first world problem. Yeah, I guess you're right there. Big heart, Raquel. For you this morning. That's your friend, I think, and possibly client there, Suzette Lorenzo.
What makes you think that?
Because she's experienced you and worked with you and seen your big heart in action. Is what would make
that's true. That's true.
Yeah, I would donate most of it, change my name, and move to Portugal. Maybe, Raquel, some people have already done that here among us, and we don't know.
Well, if your name is Thunder Duck, I would change it. Just a thought.
Just a thought. Well, in Portuguese, that'll be pato. I don't know what thunder is in Portuguese.
Thunder é relâmpago. It's relâmpago.
Pato relâmpago. Okay. Good morning, everyone, from Andrea Araujo. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you here. And Bom dia, alegria todos from the Portugal Sun. Better late than never. Oh, I think we already did that one, but very good to hear of your story. And well done for giving a tip to the guys who helped you out with your tire there. Going back to what you were saying about this, paying it forward and how kind people are. I find Portugal works largely on recommendation and word of mouth. A good reputation is everything. And I suppose it's a bit like a freemium, what people would now cynically call freemium, Raquel.
Yes.
You do a free job for somebody, and then you become a go-to person, don't you, for the bigger jobs where they will charge you, I guess.
Yes. Well, certainly a possibility. I don't think that we should do that having that in mind, because that makes it like more that you have an agenda.
Cynical.
Yes, and I don't think I mean, certainly some people will do that because of that. I think that for the most part, my motivation of having a business for my own was to do exactly what I wanted to do with
Yeah.
my business, and carry it out the way that I think it should be carried out, and help the people that I think I should help. So having a complete control of what I wanted my resources to be allocated to, and the impact that I wanted to see in the world. Because one of the things, and you mentioned this, Carl, I think that comes through a lot, is I felt really disconnected in the corporate world with the reality of people, with the problems of people, with all of that, and now it's very gratifying for me to really see the direct impact that I have in people's lives. And sometimes that's just, like I said, the dopamine hit that I need. And I mean, it's not like I'm going to charge 50 euros, 100 euros for something that, that's not going to get me any richer. What is going to make me happy is to know that I did make an impact on that person's life, and that I did help them. Of course, I have a business. The business has to make money. I have to survive on my business. And when we do get down to business, and when I do create company, I do offer a complete integrated full service. I mean, I know what I'm worth. I know that I'm confident in my work, in my technical abilities. So I'm completely comfortable with offering that service, and with charging money for that services, because I know how good they are. I know how much they are worth. But that's a more wholesome service that I can provide. It's not like I don't want to prevent anyone from asking for help if they need to,
Yes,
even
well
if it's
said.
just a phone call, or because if it's something that's so easy for me, last night you were talking about the value of stuff, and I remember that thought about the value of a water bottle. If you're in the middle of the desert, that water bottle can cost you 1,000 euros.
Yes.
If you're in an airport, it's going to cost you 2 or 3 euros. If you're in the supermarket, it's going to cost you 80 cents. So it's the same water, it's the same bottle, but depending on wherever you are, its value increases or decreases. And that's exactly it. The value of my services, and the value of a 5-minute tip that I can give away, it has so much value for my client. And for me, it's not that I don't know that it has value, but it's a known fact for me. So for me, it's not that it doesn't have value, but it's a given. But for my clients, it may not be the case. This may be something that they really did not know, and that is going to make a very huge difference in their lives.
Yes.
And how do you monetize this? How do you give a currency, a value to this? You can't. So if you can't, just give it away, because I'm sure that person is going to be in a better mood that day. It's going to be helping some other people. I think it's about knowing how to share. I think in these days, and with whatever is going on with the world, it's one of the most grateful things that I have in my business is to be able to give away. Seriously.
Let me give you an example. You, Mrs. M. We've had our struggles with accountancy. I think it's it's a matter of public record now, from me talking about it here.
Yeah.
But you gave Louisa a fantastic recommendation of an accountant. So thank you for that. And she feels in really good hands with some great service accountants. So thank you very much.
Isn't that the best? No,
absolutely
to know
the
that.
best. Yep, superb. And as Andrew was saying, the word of mouth recommendation is good, and then to find the experience of the recommendation being absolutely spot on, which is what she's found, is superb too. So thank you for that. A few more comments coming in. I think the $1 billion win has captured people's imaginations, of course, as it would. And other information coming through from things going on around Portugal. Any Irish rugby fans? A live TV in John's Bar, Montegordo every Saturday. Ask for Joan, apparently. Won't that be fun? So say, hi, Joan. Is Joan here? We heard about you on the Good Morning Portugal show. don't forget, when it comes to the gym, don't forget to take your potato sacks to the gym. And even when you feel strong, put some potatoes in them as well. I'll finish that joke for you there, James. And lovely day. How about this? You and me are very busy, as we've described, Raquel. John, however, lovely day with nothing on the calendar for a change. Those days are great.
Ooh.
Nice pottering day for you. I think I might wash the car today. Look at that. One of those living the dream moments there. Meme, we were talking
For
about
sure.
and the original meme. What's this? A meme has an origin of mimema, which is imitated. So I suppose it's art imitating life, perhaps. And there's the world's first meme there. Yes, that makes some sense to me. Thank you for looking that up, Darren. Or did you already know that? A specific question coming in now that we may well be able to help with on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday. Rental contracts, is the minimum 1 year, Raquel, in your experience?
Yes, it will depend because there's, of course, Airbnbs and all of that short-term leases. It's one legal regime, and another legal regime is the long-term contract. So yes, it's a year, the very minimum for a long-term contract. It has a separate set of rules rather than the short-term lease where it's like the touristic and short-term leases like Airbnbs and such. So yes, it is. Be very mindful of the renovation period because it has a different minimum when it renovates.
What do you mean? What's that? What is that? The renovation period?
Because one of the most important things for the legal system when it comes to protecting the tenant is usually when it's much harder to find a good real estate to lease than to be the owner of a real estate and to lease it to others. So the legal regime is very mindful of the protection of the tenant. Okay, it's always been like this. We even had it has been changed in a few years from now, but ago it was changed. But it was so protective of the tenant that you could have no actualization or no actualization of the fee that you paid, like the rent that you paid for a lot of money. So what ended up happening was that a lot of people, like in old Lisbon, paid like 30 euros or something for a 2 or 3 bedroom apartment. It was such a protective system for the tenants that it allowed for these types of things. So of course, then the buildings deteriorated because the property owners couldn't afford to make any works. So it's very mindful of that, and it's very mindful specifically about throwing anyone out the window once the deadline is over. So the minimum renovation period is about 3 years. So just I think it's very important, Carl, in every issue, but especially when it comes to a house, the roof that you're in, please ask for advice.
Yes.
Please have someone look into the contract and see the rules, explain the rules to you, like the deposit, explain what you can and cannot do. If you want to hang a nail on the wall, can I do that? Can I have pets over? Can I have people over? Can the homeowner come and visit me to check on the property? Those are all rules that have to be explained, that have to be understood by both parties. If I want to get out of the lease, what's the period that I have to give notice to the homeowner? Or otherwise, if I'm the homeowner, what's the period that I have to give notice to someone when I am going to need the house? So the minimum is 1 year, yes. Be very mindful. Ask for advice, please, even if it's just a doubt or whatever. But because the period is a very specific thing that you can see. You know, the contract has a period and it's there and it's named. What about the things that are not specifically in the contract? And then the doubts that may arise. Or maybe it looks very simple, but then someone doesn't explain the rules, like the deposits or the pets or the noises, or
repainting it, right? Or you're liable for repainting it before you move out.
Exactly. So please if there's any doubts about leases or buying a property or whatever, like the receipts, how do you get the receipts? There's something that I have to say this, Carl. The tax authority and the way the tax authority works here in Portugal, it has a lot of defects. We all know that, but it has a very good thing that I don't see necessarily in other countries, is that there's a lot of things that are automatic, like the rental contract. When you want to make it official, which you do, you have to communicate it to the tax authority. So there's the portal. You don't have to go to a tax office. You can open up your portal with your password, your NIF and your password, and you register the contract. And what happens from there is that you get the receipts automatically. Okay,
Yes.
This is great. You don't have to go anywhere. You can register everything online. You can see the relationship is very open. It's very transparent. You can see how much all the receipts that are paid or not. So this is a very good thing. And the same thing happens with invoices, for instance. Everybody that doesn't live in Portugal, that hasn't had this experience, think that they can just write up an invoice on a piece of paper. This is not true, okay? You have to have a specific software program that communicates with the tax authority in the way that in your own portal, in your own login, you can see all the invoices that you paid, and you can then check them out and see to have the deduction and all that sort of things. So everything is really automatic. So it's very everything is computerized, everything's in the system, so it's very easy sometimes to have that look. So don't think, for instance, if you have a lease, that then the homeowner will get you like a piece of paper saying receipt, I received. No, if they do that, beware. Okay. Because that's not the way it's supposed to go. Okay.
And that's what's meant when if in a D7 environment, when you're looking for your 12-month rental,
yes,
if the contract is registered with Finanças,
exactly,
and that's the gold standard, really, isn't it? Is that you know you're dealing with somebody who's above board if they've registered.
It's a must.
Yeah, okay.
It's a must. I mean, it's like everyone. It's been the reality of time since there is a state and a government. As people that want to do it under the table, the people that want to be clear about what they're doing and being transparent and laying their cards on the table. So the way the government works is, of course, trying to force people to be transparent. And so the D7, yes, does require a rental contract that is registered in the tax authority in US, but don't all the rental contracts have to be registered? Yes, the long terms, yes, but not all of the people do that, because a lot of people don't need a receipt, don't need anything. But yes, it is a legal requirement to have them registered with the tax authority.
And also not unusual, Darren. We have a 3-year contract here with our landlord. So it may be a minimum of 1, but it can go up to 3 as well. And I guess you can draw it up for however long you want to. But
yes.
Yeah. Okay. Good stuff. Simon's in. Good morning to you, Simon, and Andrea. Raul, good morning, everyone. I'm not sure if we said hello to you already or not, but welcome to you. Pepe is a great person. Thank you very much, Suzette, for that. I'll show you the picture. This is the picture that Sarah took whilst at the hotel in Porto. There's Pepe coming through the lounge there, and she knew there was somebody of note and several footballers. But that's interesting as well, isn't it? You're talking about great wealth as we are this morning, Raquel. Footballers, footballers earn a lot of money, or some of them can do. And they are superstars in so many ways and loved by people. And still, there he is. He's just a man, isn't he? Just a man in his tracksuit and his trainers walking through a hotel there. And you were talking about the value of water. If we look at him in terms of a commodity, he is a human being, just minding his own business, maybe going to do his job that day. But the added value is incredible, isn't it? That this man, because of his skills and how he's been presented and developed in his career, is worth millions and millions of euros.
What's more worth to me about that person is maybe have a chat with him. Yeah, that's what's most important. Exactly.
Well said.
I keep thinking about Keanu Reeves. Not only is a dream guy physically, but also on the inside, he's just someone that's. I mean, he's made million in every movie that he's made. He's made sure that he hires people to have other jobs besides, when the movie ends. He's helped tons of people. He walks around in New York or California, whatever he is, in plain clothes. He goes to the subway. And that's how you should. I'm not telling anyone how you should live. You should live however you want and how you feel comfortable doing, of course. But that's such a relaxed and chilled way to live. Is sometimes we're so worried about things that really don't matter at all,
Well
in the
said,
end.
well said. Yeah.
And I think he has great priorities in line. So he wants to be healthy, he wants to be happy, and that's all in the end that we really want is to be healthy and happy and have um, and to feel happy doing whatever we want to and live however we want to live.
Yeah, and
Um,
money can enable that, can't it, if used wisely? Absolutely.
of course,
Apparently, he's only going to get 50,000 after taxes. It's not. No, it wasn't Portugal. It was America. Okay, Lady G. No, I think that's a joke from the OLP. There, Lady
Jesus.
G wants a castle. I don't know how many castles you get with that sort of money. And the Rihanna frock, apparently, that was a strange dance routine, I have to say. But Rihanna's frock was made by a small shop in Northern Ireland. Um,
See?
and very good. Yes, a nice little payday for them, I suspect. Raquel is the best, says Andrea. If you need help to start your business in Portugal, she's definitely the best person. And we will find out more about that before we say goodbye today, because I think you run a business course as well. I don't know if that's connected with you helping
Yes.
start businesses. Maslow's
Yes.
hierarchy of needs again. Yes, absolutely. Well said there. What a learned crew we have here. US 2 billion is what some people might consider to be essentially a first world problem. You said there, Salvation Air Force. But what a good problem to have, you could say as well. Big heart, Raquel. I have to leave early, says T-Duck. I'm not sure if he heard you insulting his name there, Raquel. Much to do
Sorry.
before heading out to the meetup. Hope to see some of you there. Yes, indeed. I wonder how much the Palacio de Pena would cost. I don't think you can afford it, even if you do have your 2 billion. And apparently he only gets less than 1 billion of that. I say only. And what James would do is give away half of it, by the look of it. Oh no, most of it, and just keep a couple of million. Is that right? This is you're a numbers person, Raquel. In America, 1,000 million is a billion, right? The British billion is a million, isn't it?
And it's a different thing in Portugal as well. You don't even imagine the discussions that I had with my colleagues who are managers.
What's the difference here then?
We don't say billions, billions. We don't have that. We have 1,000 million, millions.
Yes.
Okay, so we don't have billions. So it's even worse to have international discussions around very big numbers. It makes it very difficult.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. And also, I mean, these are inconceivable amounts of money, aren't they? I've heard people talking about them if they were stacked, how far they'd go into the sky. But these are inconceivable amounts of money. But you definitely get an idea of what James would do here, which is to give most of it away, just leaving enough for himself to be comfortable by the sound of it, because he lives a dream life anyway, as we discover on a Monday.
You see?
And foundations for people and causes, working to help create a better world. So there you go. What a great job that would be, making those decisions.
Sure.
However, look at this. None of my family deserve any of my money. They can have it when I'm dead. That's a bit bar humbug, isn't it?
Well, not even that. Don't leave them anything then. Use it up.
That is awesome, Raquel. I think talking about how you were planning to spend it. I wonder how many other people this morning are going to carry on and do that. I did this exercise in the 1990s, visualizing what I wanted, who I wanted to meet, and what I wanted to happen, who I wanted to become. And I just came across it 30 years later, and I was shocked by how many of these things had come true. It's the secret, isn't it?
Yes.
Including all those fabulous, far-fetched. Isn't that great?
For sure.
Yep. The Man Cave has a syndicate as well. So I don't think it was them that won, though, on that occasion. No tow bar on a hearse. I'd give it away. 900 million people charities would get 1 million each.
You see.
Yeah, you're a lovely bunch, and it'll be so interesting to see what happens. Should that occur with one of our community here, the winnings are either paid in a lump sum, much less, or in yearly payouts over several years, and massive amounts of tax clearly there as well. Government wins every time, don't they? And Raquel, I've messaged you on Insta, so someone
I'll
reached.
look that up.
I don't know if John got this right. I think he corrected himself later, but the guy could come to Portugal and give €200 to each of the 10 million residents. That'd be nice, wouldn't it? Thunder is trovoada, relampago is light,
Okay.
which has the word lamp in it. Okay, thank you, lady of the seven skirts. Hola, bon dia todos. The thunder in the Algarve was off the chart last night. Oh, exciting night there in the Algarve. I like how you think, says Portugal Sun to you, Raquel. I want to have enough to live simply and be able to be generous. What a lovely aspiration.
That's the true riches.
There you go. True wealth here. If you are at Lisbon airport, here's added value. A sandwich costs €7, which
And not a good one.
Not a good one. They don't have to bother, do they? Deagle, 900 million charities would get 1 million each. It would actually be €900 each. All the mathematicians stepping forward here, giving 900 charities 1 million is still a great goal, however. Okay, and I think there's still some confusion over that, but we're still talking about lots of money. Andrew's
he wants. It's a big of a number.
230 million plus VAT, plus the EVA there. That's a considerable amount of money. You need a crew and maintenance reckoned to be 10% of the price per annum. Fit for a lord, says Mulia de Setsesh for you. I'm looking. Oh, okay. So how can we help Darren here? I'm looking for a short term, like 3 or 4 months. So they'll have to sign up for 12 months anyway, and then come out of it, right? That's how it would work, unless it's an Airbnb short term.
Yes, exactly that. You can get out. The rule is you can get out after 1/3 of the whole period has gone.
Yeah.
So, of course, there's contractual liberty of the parts, which is to say that as long as it's not against the law, you can stipulate whatever you want to on the lease, as long as it doesn't go against the law. So these periods, of course, you can vary. You can give even more notice. But yes, if you want a short term thing, either Airbnbs or short term rental.
Yes, there are a couple of other companies in Portugal. There's Flatio as well, and there's Spotter Home, which I think are intermediate type agreements as well. So Flatio and Spotter Home might be useful, which is also of interest to Tabitha this morning on Ask Anything About Portugal Wednesday, not Thursday. Talking of Thursday, we'll have Veronica and Carl Hyde with us tomorrow, celebrating his new move in the real estate business. Good morning. If the minimum is 1 year for a long term, if you rent for a period less than 12 months, is the owner required to have an AO license? Not quite.
No, it's gonna depend on the type of property that you're talking about. Because you can when it's a long term, it's not considered alojamento local, which is AL license. Okay. Alojamento local has a specific set of rules. It's different whether it's in a big building, whether it's a house or a farm or whatever. And it's not really dependent on the period of time that you rent the place or that you want to be in the place. And in the same way, if someone wants to go long term, you can do that even if you have alojamento local license. Okay, these are not dependent things.
Okay. Thank you for that. And yeah, okay. So, but it can tend to be a little bit more expensive, can't it? If you're looking at Airbnb, because obviously they're short-term rentals, they make their money from short bursts of higher amounts. I would say the best value way is long-term, isn't it? And in the current market,
yes,
I think most landlords are happy to. If you found a new tenant, for example, which shouldn't be a difficult thing to do, this is a particular challenge, I think, for the D7 type people, Raquel. You know, they want a base camp for a year, and they've got to have their 12-month contract to get their D7, and so they're worried about being tied down for a whole year. And there's two things I'd say about that. That year flies by really quickly anyway. Your first year will whiz by. But also in the current climate, it's very likely you'll be able to find a new tenant for your landlord who, if you make it as easy as possible for them And sometimes that's a little bit of a money-making opportunity for the landlord as well, isn't it? They might get a chance to
For
redecorate
sure.
or raise the rent or something like that. It's not such a big problem. I think in the way things are at the moment, you'll be able to transfer it quite easily. Would you agree?
Agree completely. I had a client a few weeks ago that was for whom I was looking for a rental contract, and each week that passed, I was seeing the rental amounts coming up.
Right.
And I was like, oh my God, if we take one more month, your budget is going to like double.
Yeah.
So my advice is, especially if you're not here, just try to secure something. It doesn't have to be ideal. It has to be like the basic stuff. It doesn't even have to be exactly in the location that you wanted, but just secure something that's going to be safe, that's going to be comfortable, and that's going to give you the areas that you need to work with, depending on how many people you are.
Well
And
said.
then that year is going to fly by because you're going to take care of a lot of bureaucracy, a lot of papers, a lot of whatever. You'll then have time to check all the locations out. You'll have time to see the kind of buildings, the kind of neighborhoods, wherever you want to be. Don't worry about finding the perfect location right away. Worry about finding something adequate, something good, not perfect, something good, at the right price that's not going to burst your bank account. And then you'll have time to just relax, chill, and find the best opportunities, whether it is buying something or having a longer term rental. And
Great
if you're
advice.
worried about being during a year, don't worry about it, because you can leave early, okay? First of all, you can always negotiate something with the owner, okay? Besides what the contract says, you can always negotiate something. And even if you don't negotiate, you can get out of the 1 year lease earlier than that year, okay? So don't worry about that. Just worry about securing a place for you to set your bases, set your ground, and then from there, like, head for your headquarters, where you can go and search for your better house, your better apartment, the neighborhood, whatever that it is that you need.
And you can scout around Portugal. I mean, you know, with how used to Americans are to driving long distances. If you
Oh,
get your place in the middle of Portugal somewhere, or even Lisbon, and as a base camp, you fixed your costs, haven't you, for a year, in terms of.
exactly.
And you can drive up and down the country. You can catch a bus. The buses are great in Portugal. You can catch trains, and you can go scouting, and you don't have to worry about moving home every 3 months or however often.
Exactly. And everything's near for them or for you guys. I mean, everything that takes me more than half an hour, for me, it's very far away. But for people in the UK, even France and Spain and the States, I feel that everything's really near. It's like, oh, it's an hour away. That's really quick. And I'm like, I would never go an hour away. So you just set your base as central as it can be, somewhere where you can be comfortable in, and then you have time to figure everything out.
Very good.
The internet is pretty good in all the countries, so you don't really have, well, with the exception made to the mountains and all of that, Trás-os-Montes, and there's a few
Yes.
areas there where it's not that good, but otherwise the country has a very good hi-fi network, so it's fine.
And then you'll have your base with Wi-Fi, so that
Yes.
you can start your life that way. Great advice there. Michael's with us from, is that a Saucy or Deseja this morning? Great to have you, Michael, who says, spend it now. We're talking about money this morning. There are no pockets in a shroud. Well said. And we'll come back to some more of your comments. Good morning to you, Victoria, as well. Because we want to find, I can't believe it. Suddenly it's nearly 10 o'clock and we haven't found out about your online business course. What is that, Raquel? How do you support people in that way?
Well, for people that are like me and maybe don't want to advance right away or are a little intimidated to have conversation right away, are still in decision time, what I'm going to do, what can I do, what can I not do. I've put up some online courses on my website. So one of them is how to set up housing in Portugal. So it tells you how you can buy a house, how you can rent a house, how you can build a house, how you can remodel a house. And the other one is how to set up a business. So it tells you about the different types of companies. It tells you about the requirements that you have to have, how you can name a company, how the tax is going to look like. Is exactly there. Teach you how you found it. And I have a little giveaway there. You see the Portugal map. This is free of charge, as you can see. You can go
Is
there
it?
and just download it. Yes, it's again. I like to give away things. And this is like the first things that I did. One of the first things that I did when I started to think about having this company is exactly start by giving away some content. And
Yeah.
this is a Portugal map that I did with all of my favorite things from the different regions. It's a very heavy
Wow.
document. It tells you where to go, where you can eat, of course, because I'm Portuguese, so eating is one of the priorities. Okay, what
Yes.
to eat, what to buy, what to see, and it will be interesting to see because I have some favorites within Portugal. Of course, I have my favorites, so it will be interesting to see if you can spot my favorites depending on the text and how much information that I put there. So
Oh,
please go
fantastic.
there and just download this. It's free, completely free of charge. You go there and use it as a map, of course, and as a guide to look into what the different regions have to offer you. Okay, so then you can have more of an idea of what Portugal is and what the different regions are. It's a start, and it's something like that. Lighthouse. It's what I want it to be. It's like a guiding light to some people, and I think that's the
That's
place
so
to start.
perfect. There we go.
Is to see, and so the other two are, of course, paid courses, and they tell you how you can have a home here, how to buy, how to rent, how to renovate, how to build. And the other one is how to start a business, which is also a very good favorite of mine. If you just want to have a look of what the rules are, if you're not really at the stage where you can have a decision, you just want to know what the rules are, what you can do and what you cannot do, just go and check them out to have an idea of how this country works. I am working on some others. I am working on like a business 2.0. It's like, how do you hire someone? What are
Oh,
the
yes.
costs of hiring someone? How does the social security work here? So that's going to be there hopefully in the next few months. I'm trying to see if I can have a little time to work on it. And these are like guidelines, essential basics, like to start to look into what this country is.
Superb. There you go. Find those at lighthouseconsulting.pt, not .com.pt. The
.pt, yes.
Portuguese suffix, of course. That is such a kind offer. I want one of those maps. I should be
Go
downloading
ahead.
after the show. That's fantastic. A couple more questions then in the last remaining minutes. Are you okay for a couple of minutes? Because we've got a great.
Yes, for sure.
What do you think about a downturn? Oh, she, let me just. Yes, for sure. And then she disappears. Raquel, question: what do you think about a downturn in the rental economy in Portugal in 2023? Some economists are saying Portugal is very overpriced in rentals and sales. What are your thoughts on this? She lives in the epicenter of that in Cascais. What do you think about this?
Yes. It's well, you know how the market goes, right? Bull bear, bull bear. It's more of the same. So I do think that there are areas that are very specifically overpriced. Cascais is certainly one of them. Lisbon is certainly one of them. I think that, but that's not necessary. I mean, I always have a positive outlook. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It's a crazy bad thing to someone who lives here, that's for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But this range of prices will drive away people from these urban centers. People will have to start looking into more rural areas, interior areas, and that is going to drive more people, and certainly the expat community, which does not mind at all to go away from the urban centers and that think that everything is close, even if it's 1 hour away. It is going to drive people more to spread people into the more interior areas. What I'm most concerned about is the services industry, like the people that don't, the low income people that make the country work, the
Yes.
restaurant people, the services people, the Uber guy, those are the ones that I'm concerned with, because those have to still be in the urban centers to work and to give these industries people to work with. in construction. Of course, we have a huge lack of people to work in construction. Those people I work with, I am worried about. And those people, what I see is that instead of looking for apartments, they are now looking for rooms. Okay, and I've seen families that were in an apartment and that now have to spread into different rooms, like one rents a room here, another one rents a room there, and that's very sad. And so I hope that is going to be a correction there. I don't think, like anything, you can't keep getting higher and higher and higher without it bursting. Yeah. And I think that if it gets to a stage where it's going to have to take some measures, some other type of measures to keep servicing people that have to be living in the centers, in the urban centers, but cannot afford to do that right now. Because if you drive those people away, they won't have the money to get inside the city. And we have transportations and more areas like here in Cascais and in Lisbon, the public transportation is free for some people. Here in Portugal, in Cascais, the transportation is free for residents. In Lisbon, it's for students and pensionists and all of that stuff. And I think that's going to have to be, it's going to take some measures of that sort of area to maintain the people that have to work here and that cannot afford to stay here in the centers.
Well said.
I think it's going to be correct.
Yeah, I think there's a serious session of ministers on Tuesday where I'm told, what I've heard, the golden visa will be revoked, or at least the legislation set in motion to do that, and some progressive building and public housing subsidy policies coming to the fore. So there is some sort of a response going on. As
it
to
has to be.
OLP, there's another part to this, and I think you alluded to it, Raquel, in your answer there. But there are a lot of other places in Portugal, aren't there, to look at? And, Portugal can be, in some ways, a sort of victim of its own success if you look at those hotspots. And if from afar you're looking at those hotspots, you're thinking, oh, my goodness, we'll never be able to afford to live there. But there's so many other cities and towns that you might consider. I mean, we were looking at the Alentejo yesterday, just as a little bit of research about other places, more rural places to live in Portugal. We love central Portugal. We're in tomorrow at the weekend. If you dare go and live in the Alentejo on the Spanish border, what would now cost you 350, 400,000 here on the Silver Coast, that sort of home, and these are beautiful homes with Portuguese/Spanish influences near river beaches in beautifully warm parts of Portugal. You can still buy a home for 150,000, 200,000, 250,000 in the Alentejo. So it's still possible, isn't it? But it really depends on where your attention is and whether you get caught up in these little sort of hurricanes of property.
Exactly. And there's so much beauty in those places because it's a little bit more, of course, untouched. And so it's more down to earth, more truthful to the nature and because here, for instance, here in Cascais, you can hardly hear Portuguese anymore. You walk on the street, you can hardly hear Portuguese. I'm serious. If you go to Alentejo or to Leiria or to whatever, as long as not on the hurricane center of the touristic areas and of the expat places, it's so beautiful to see that it's very much untouched still. And so that's a wonderful thing to see.
Yes, it is. Absolutely. So OLP, cast your net a bit further, possibly. And as a wealthier, immigrant coming in, you'll be able to live remotely. Obviously, you'll need transportation to live that sort of life, but it's still possible. Don't get too unnecessarily concerned, unless, of course, your dream is to be living in the downtown of Porto or Lisbon or Cascais or something like that. That is changing, and as Raquel said there very wisely, it's bare bull, isn't it? This it can't go on like it is. But who knows when it's going to change? We never really know, do we? And we don't know what else is going on in the world. Raquel, you've been amazing.
Thank you.
And we're past 10 o'clock, so thank you for bearing with us. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you.
what you do. And we look forward
was
to
so
seeing
much
you
fun.
next month in your new residency. Good luck with that kitchen, and have a lovely trip to London.
I'll show you next time.
Please do. So the kitchen and some
Thank you.
pictures of my hometown. Have a beautiful time with your family there. Sounds like
Thank you so much.
Take care and bye for now. Ciao, ciao. See you, Raquel. There we go. We really got down to business today. That's Raquel. I just want to make sure I've covered everything before we leave today. Busy morning this morning, and lunchtime, of course, over at the Silver Coast meetup. Looking forward to meeting up with friends there. Maybe see you there. Maybe talk to you on the outside broadcast as well. Please, think about supporting the show over at goodmorningportugal.com. You can do that with your time, talent, or treasure. All the W's, goodmorningportugal.com. Last few comments then. Thank you, Carl and Raquel. It's a pleasure, OLP. Simon also thanking Raquel there. And Portugal really needs to look at the AL properties and things like Airbnb in Canada. Service workers cannot find anywhere to live at resort areas like Whistler because of the short-term rentals. I believe they're looking at it on Tuesday. Often it's not fast enough, is it? And things don't come into force quickly enough for the people who really need them. But I think something is occurring, some profound changes possibly that are being discussed in the Parliament on Tuesday. We'll look at Bayrandi's pictures of the Rancho tomorrow when he's with us. I think he's gone off for a nice walk in Bayrada himself this morning. A couple of nice pickies I didn't get to show you yesterday from Country Bear and Bill and Marcus. Look at these. This is a Saint-Simon. Wonderful. I've been here. This is a wonderful place, not far from Tomar. Saint-Simon de Fragos, I think it's called. Beautiful waterfall. You can go to a beautiful viewing platform and see across the whole vista, and then you can walk down to where these waterfalls, where the fast-moving white water is, and see little mini waterfalls. And actually, there's a great restaurant there as well. Thank you so much for those, Bill and Marcus. Keep those pooch and pussy pictures coming in. Of course, there's little Peggy. That's our dog, and her little photo shoot recently on the Gralia cliff tops there, not far from where we live. Have a great day. Oh, this one as well. I think Andy sent this in. This is some of that Valentine's Day embroidery. Not literally, just in the style of there. And that's an event that's happening. Exposition de Postage. It doesn't actually say where, but you'll find that on the Gumper map. Go to the Good Morning Portugal website, go into the Gumperverse and pull down the tab of the Gumperverse and click on the Gumper map. I think that's everything today, maybe apart from a last comment here from Michael. Hawaii has a ban on Wow, that's drastic. There it is. Those are the wheels of culture turning, aren't they? Do you remember when we all thought Airbnb was just the best thing since sliced accommodation? It's incredible how things change, isn't it? Ciao, ciao. And a bravo there from Simon. Okay, see you tomorrow with Ronnie, Veronica, the American in the Algarve, and of course, Carl Hyde with his great news of his career move. We'll see them tomorrow, Thursday, and of course, tomorrow evening, there'll be a webinar where John, who you've seen here this morning, João de Norte, will have a busier day tomorrow as he joins us on the Expats Portugal webinar in the evening with some just landed insight. And then we'll move into the all-new Migration Tuesday on a Thursday. That's confusing, isn't it? Migration Tuesday is now Migration Thursday, and the Expats Portugal Dream Team will be in full effect from around 9 o'clock. So it's a great evening now over at Expats Portugal on the webinar. The webinar from 7:30, and then the Dream Team continues from 9 o'clock, answering all your questions. Have a great day. Bye for now. Ciao, ciao.
In Portugal, there's a YouTube show full of fun facts you need to know. Carl rings the bell and the members show to the GMP morning show. Featured guests will come and they will blow your mind. The audience will do so in kind. A little vanity mixed with some insanity on the morning show with GMP.
Good morning, Portugal, and I'd like to welcome you to another fantastic day.
Hey, Gumpers.